Sorry I missed last week's sales video. It took me a bit longer to edit that Contra Operation Galuga review than I thought it would. Anyways, I'm back. Let's get started with this week's sales. Well, nothing on Steam, but Humble seems to be making up for it with some really killer deals on Square Enix and, of course, Capcom titles, because it isn't a sales video if Capcom doesn't have at least one game for sale.
Get Final Fantasy XII on sale for $19.99, an unforgettable game with the exception of Vaughn.
Final Fantasy XII is probably one of my favorite post-classic Final Fantasy games. The world building is solid. The world is fun to explore. The plot outside of the story has some interesting ideas. However, it does have one flaw. The characters. You had 3 characters in this that would make great protags. A patriotic soldier who was wrongfully set up and accused of treason, trying to prove his innocence to his countrymen who hate him. An aristocratic pirate who has a beef to pick with the Empire and family issues on top of that. And a princess who is fighting to avenge her lover and restore her kingdom. Which of the 3 do you think they would pick to be the protag? The answer, if you're the developer of Final Fantasy XII, is none of the above. You get the kid who has no beef in this fight and no reason to be there to be the protag. And boy, does the story suffer for it. But everything else is really fun, and I can overlook that fact with the tons of side quests and interesting variables it has. Definitely get this for $20. It's a good 80 hours solid worth of gameplay.
Jack into savings on Mega Man Battle Network on sale for $29.99.
With this pack, you get 5 really great Mega Man Game Boy Advance RPG games, plus Mega Man Battle Network 4. I have been replaying these, and so far, I can say I'm having fun. I'm still in the middle of 3. The only issue I have there that they can be a bit dated. If you draw the wrong set of cards and the wrong type of enemy, you can get killed pretty fast, and if you don't save in these games, you're screwed. Still, the game upgrades are good, and I love the presentation of the menus and the bonuses they provided of previous Japanese-only things. It makes them a great collection. I'm going to try to get through the rest of them sometime this year.
Don't monkey around with these savings. Final Fantasy IX is on sale for $8.39.
Final Fantasy IX is my personal favorite Final Fantasy game. I love the story, the characters, the world, the music, and the graphics for the time were pretty good, and the HD smoothing has done the characters some good. It's a fun story, and the protagonist, unlike the other PS1 Final Fantasy emo heroes, is someone who is upbeat and just fun to be around. Basically, the plot is that Zidane, the main character, sets out to kidnap a princess and take her to her uncle. Things get messy when, in the middle of the kidnapping plot, the princess tries to escape to go and see said uncle. Throw in some hijinks like a black mage and a soldier who only knows his duty gets involved with Zidane's plot, and well, you have an interesting mix. If you want to get into classic Final Fantasy, this one's probably the best one that's regularly on sale.
Get Final Fantasy VII for $4.39, but only if you don't have a PS4.
Final Fantasy VII is still a fun game and worth getting if you don't have a PS4 or a Switch. It's just that the Steam version is basically the old PC version, patched up for modern computers, and while that's not a bad thing per se, the problem is that the controller prompts aren't square or X, it's map button, and the mini-games are so button-focused and so time-focused that it is a bad thing. If you don't own a Switch or a PS4, definitely get this on PC, but if you do have a console somewhere that can play this game, get it on the consoles instead.
Estuans Interius. Ira Viamenti. Sephiroth Final Fantasy VII Remake for $34.99.
I enjoyed the remake of Final Fantasy VII way more than I thought I would. It's only the first part of the story dealing with the Midgar section, but they did a better job of giving Midgar itself character. Midgar is no longer various shades of brown. The cities and the slums have lives and people living in it. On top of that, the combat is fun, and the chance to expand the characters' personalities is really good. It's not perfect, but I will save that for a full review. But I believe it's worth $35 and worth picking up when it's on sale.
Make sure you have time to jump into Chrono Trigger for $7.49.
Rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. You will be missed. Anyways, one of the best games he helped create was Chrono Trigger, taking the best of the classic Final Fantasy series with the best of the classic Dragon Quest series, and being one of the first games to do a New Game Plus. This game is easy to pick up and play and understand, and it's really fun to play, well worth the $7.49. On top of that, again, for its time, it's got some really stunning visuals. Toriyama's art style and character designs really do help this game. Again, highly recommend picking this one up.
Bringing you the Disney Afternoon Collection for $4.99.
Some classic Disney goodness. Back in the day, Capcom had the licenses to do Disney games on Nintendo platforms, and they made great hits like DuckTales and Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, which are hits and cost a modest amount, if you want their actual cartridges, that is. And since the license extended beyond the dates of the cartoons and the NES popularity, they created DuckTales 2 and Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers 2. Great games, but because, again, NES was no longer king and the show's long since removed from the block, to say they had low sales is an understatement. Because of their high quality in gameplay and low actual supply, these games cost an arm and a leg. So if you want to play them legally, $5 is a real steal for this collection.
Maybe if you buy this collection, Tommy will shut up about it for a few weeks. Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 for $7.99.
Now, I love me some Mega Man X. The original game is probably the best action platformer ever made, and you get X4, which is a close second for best action platform ever made. And then you get X2, a distant third for best action platformer ever made. And then you also get X3, which, well, at least it's not X7. Still, great games, well worth $8, and you can try the original Mega Man X for free at Capcom Town.
Bring back the times you used to love Marvel with Marvel vs. Capcom 3 for $7.49.
This game had 3-on-3 action, and while it doesn't coddle the player for a fighting game, it's relatively easy to pick out, and play. You get characters like Ryu, Dante, and Zero from the Capcom side, and the Marvel side will have things like Deadpool, Wolverine, and Hulk, and many more. This is 3-on-3 action. It's not hard to find this game fun. I enjoy it. It's well worth $7.49. Just skip Infinite.
The modern-day game from Capcom that Tommy loves just as much as Mega Man X, now on sale for $9.99.
Before we move on from Humble, let's talk about Resident Evil 2. I found this game incredibly fun. It's scary, but never so over-the-top frightening that you want to stop playing, and it has some great action, some great combat. Throw in Mr. X, who can just bring up the anxiety level to 10 when he starts chasing you around the map. Makes this game fun. I really did enjoy this game. One of my favorite games from Capcom so far. This isn't despite the fact that I really consider the remake of the original quite stinky.
Let's move on to good old games. Get a classic Lara Croft game, Tomb Raider Underworld for $1.16.
I enjoyed this game the most in the second Lara Croft timeline. Underworld offers a good selection of both puzzles and action, and when you unlock Thor's hammer towards the end, it gets extremely fun. Again, I had a really good time with this, and just the way it kind of balanced everything, because the first game in the second timeline was way too action-focused and ultimately forgettable, while the Tomb Raider Anniversary game was way so much puzzles that it became exhausting.
The Tomb Raider remake is a bloody roller coaster ride for $3.99.
I enjoyed the first game in the latest reboot. Laura is stuck on an island that she can't get off to due to some supernatural forces, and her best friend is being held captive by some cult because she may be a descendant of this island's last queen. The game's got great platforming and some great action, really great shooting, setup, and action, and I just enjoyed the hell out of it every time I played this.
Return to the time when people used to like EA with the Wing Commander series. Get Wing Command 1 through 4 for $1.49 each.
Yeah, back in the 90s, EA used to be a game company that was about experimentation and about making good and different games, and their Wing Commander series was one of those. Basically, you take up arms against some aliens called the Kilrathi as you fly missions. Complete them and you'll start to win the war. Lose and well, the Kilrathi will start to get into human space and eventually take over the world. Later games would use FMV with Mark Hamill. It's a fun game series worth checking out for $1.50 a piece. Before we move on to Epic Game Store, I would like to ask if you are enjoying this video to please leave a like and subscribe.
Last and certainly least, the Epic Game Store.
Ugh, do I have to say this? Fine. May your heart be your guiding key. Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 on sale for $19.99.
We finally get to Epic, and the only place to find Kingdom Hearts. And I think $20 is well worth 4 really great JRPGs. Follow Sora as he gets torn away from his home and friends when dark beings called Heartless attack his island. And with a magical weapon called the Keyblade now attached to him, he must set across the world to try to stop the Heartless and reclaim his home. Along the way, a wayward knight and a mage looking for the king decide to join him. And those knight and mage are Donald and Goofy, and those worlds he has to explore are all based on classic Disney movies. These games are a blast to play, great action, great music. The graphics hold up well, and Square Enix did a lot of touching up on the HD remasters. They've in fact rebuilt Kingdom Hearts 1 almost from the ground up. So I do highly recommend these collections, even though you do have to go to Epic Games to find them. Anyways, that's all for this week. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and mention any games, sales you think are worth checking out in the comments below. See you later.
Hey! Yeah, you! I'm down here busting my ass while you sit on yours watching me jump around? How is that fair?
Get ready for the